3, 2, 1. We're live.
This is 2OF Entertainment.
Well, here we go. It's the man that promises you nothing and delivers. It's the veritable man motor mouth. It's Road Woods who feels the need to call himself Robb Vega. It somehow makes him feel important. Anyway, do have a listen and try not to throw up.
I feel like a beatnik. Hold on. Okay, now we can start. So try not to throw up.
I just want to say that the Rob is not here today, so there's going to be me. I will be showing you what is going on. Yeah,
showing us. This will be good. So we
get out of here. Sorry, I don't know why.
I like that. So I like Arnold. So earlier, Arnold was the sperminator. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Did you call me the sperminator? How? Yes. That's terrible, but it's incredible, It's fantastic. It's fantastic, I like that. They also call me, in this country where I am now, they've got the power, and that is because I am the generator.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that is what I do.
Wasn't it your household?
Show them, come on.
Arnie, wasn't it your household help who ended up calling you the sperminator? Was that correct? Or?
Yeah, didn't you get your maid? Didn't you get your maid pregnant? Was she hot in the day?
No, not with one. It was a couple, but they only found out about the one.
It's a couple. He's dating. He's
because dating, I'm a man of. I'm very virile. Virile, is it the right word? Virile.
Virile. Yeah. Well, he's
I'm not old like Biden or Trump. I'm full of the power. Come on. I should be the president. They should call me the president. Because then I will make all these people fit, and I will show them how to do it. Yeah.
How to do what?
There would be no bullshit in the country. There would be one click, and we'd all be cooperating.
I like
doing it together.
Like you did in California.
Yeah, well, the thing about it is, Arnie, is that if you were president and you would make us all fit, of course, we'd be able to shovel away our own bullshit then, wouldn't we? Wouldn't have
that
to
is correct.
leave it
You would be able to get rid of your own bullshit,
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to share this bullshit with other people.
Yeah. Be a bit like snow. You'd be shoveling it away regularly.
No, because then you've got the breath, you just blow and it goes away. And in fact, the snow is not going to come because it's going to come down. It's going to see you, Dave, and it's going to go, oh my God. And it will go away. It'll be too scared because it is a girly man.
A girly man.
A girly man, huh?
No. That is why. No. Listen to me. That is why they call it a snowflake.
Snowflakes. I love it.
This is where it comes from. If you are a snowflake, you don't want to be anywhere. You're scared of everything, Everything bothers you.
Yeah.
That is what I mean. You see?
And that's why Arnold used to say on Saturday Night Live, hear me now, listen to me now, and hear me later. Yeah. So that's right. You are when I grew up, when I was a child, way back in the day, and you were becoming Arnold Schwarzenegger, the muscle man, the actor.
The sperminator.
The sperminator. I was like, you were the reason that I didn't work out. Anyway, so we're glad that you're here.
Not, Stephen, that is your problem, Look at you.
Actually, that's not true. I really did. A friend of mine, his name was Louis Calabrese. And Louis, if you're listening, hello.
It wasn't his fault.
I know. My mom gave me a every week. Louis and I worked out.
You have to own your problem, Stephen. It is your fault, This is how you get your power.
Yeah, this is how I'm telling you the power story. So Louis and I worked out together for a year. Louis ended up looking, and we were both like 14, 15. Louis looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger at the end of the year. I still have this body. So that didn't do anything for me.
That's okay. It's okay.
But I have a big brain.
I can help you.
Yes, you can help me. You can help me. You and Dolph Lundgren can help me work out more.
No, Dolph. No, he's a girly man too. Have you seen that man? Listen to me. Have you seen? He He married his granddaughter's friend, you know.
Oh, did he really?
Pretty much.
All
He's
right.
like, what, 100 years old, and she's like 5, you know.
Well,
crazy.
I don't want to say anything, but when you were banging that maid and the girl you're dating now is 38 and you're like 75.
I didn't marry her. I'm not stupid. You know, I didn't marry her. I'm not stupid.
Like you just banged her.
Away.
And got her pregnant. Hey, listen, what about Sylvester Stallone? I hear he's a friend of yours.
That little small shit. No, he's not a friend of mine.
Yeah. So Arnie, when's the next Sperminator movie coming out?
Or any sperm coming out.
It's Sperminator number 38. Then that'll be, won't it? If she's only 38 years old. So
no. I keep giving and I don't give back. So no, I'm not going to do that.
No more. Okay.
No more. No more. All I got to do now is I need to find something to wear. Yeah.
And speak English. And other than that, he's going to do fine.
Can I give you a hand?
Well,
give me more lines from Kindergarten Cop. Come on. Come on. Does my body disgust you? Yes, it does.
That's too funny. I do like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like I think he's a cool guy. And they have a cigar festival in Austria once or twice every year, and I get invited to it. And you can have cigars with Arnie. It's like $1,200 or $15, whatever.
No. That is the wrong word. The word is not a cigar. It is a stogie.
Actually, no. Only in America do we call it a stogie.
The Kindergarten got the stogie. He's in the van. She's in the van with the man with the stogie.
Yeah, but the real pronunciation is cigar. Stogie is for like Americans.
Yeah, but I get to make the rules, you know.
So that's true. You're the cigar-nator. You're the cigar-nator.
The thing that bothers me really is that why is it every other year? What are they doing in Austria for a festival in between the cigar shows?
Planning the invasion of the rest of Europe. So
I don't know. Looking for Hansel and Gretel? I don't know. What would they be doing?
Yeah, like, who cares?
Oh, that's Danish. I don't know. I'm not sure what they're doing now.
The good thing is part of my family is from Austria. We're the friendly Nazis, so that's good. So anyway,
really, you got Austrian blood, really?
We do have Austrian blood, and I didn't know that. Here's what's just fun. Here's a funny story. My parents. Because we were looking at you. My parents, when I was a child, kept saying we were from Poland, and I wondered why our boat had a screen door on the bottom. But anyway, I was like, well, yes, I did. I did it. But no. So when I was about 21 or 22, my mom sits me down in the kitchen. She comes over to my place, and she said, "I have something very important to tell you." And I'm thinking somebody died. I'm thinking something terrible. Like,
did she tell you were gay or something? Did she come out and say you were gay?
I am not. I'm just a happy guy. Anyway, so she says to me, yeah, right. Speech impediment. And my mom says, "I have something to tell you." I'm like, "What?" She goes, "We're not from Poland." I'm like, "Okay." Like, I don't care. And she says, "We're from Austria." And I'm like, "The hills are alive." And I'm like, "Okay." And she goes, "Well, I didn't want to tell you because of the war." And I said to her, "It's 40 years ago."
Yeah,
I know, but
we're good.
Apparently we weren't. So yeah, I didn't find out where my whole family lineage until probably 83 or 84, because they were very afraid of any repercussions. And then there was a guy there was a guy doing a book, I guess, about our family, and he was interviewing our family, and I was like, "Oh."
So were the family on the wrong side of the fence? Then is that what you?
I don't know. You know what's funny? No one would ever tell me. When my mom passed, I found a bunch of stuff. I read a bunch of stuff, and I still have no idea if we were on the left or the right side of the fence when we were in Austria. If we were the friendly Jews, not the friendly Jews. I have no idea but it was very like the whole family has never spoken, and they're all dead now because I killed them. But they're all dead, so I have no idea. But it was very interesting. It's like they were very secretive about where we were from.
Okay, so
was that because of the Austrian Hitler connection?
I think so. I think that had a lot to do with it. But I was figuring, like,
he's one guy.
Yeah, it's not a whole popular. Like, when I went to Austria, Yeah, I went to Austria. It was very nice. I had their little sausage.
Lovely, beautiful country,
Yeah,
stunning.
I was, and
Gorgeous.
they accepted
Just
me with
spoiled
open
by the
arms.
Austrians, but there you
Yeah,
go.
all right. Other than that, right? Other than the Austrians.
Hang on a
So it was-
second.
yeah,
I heard recently that Vienna
yeah, has
either was
sausages.
in number one. No, good sausages.
Yeah.
No sausages. Bratwurst. They somewhere in the top 5 or even the top happiest
Yeah, it was
cities.
Let me
number
look.
one hit, what, at Vienna? It was for,
Number one what?
Let me look.
Number one hit, Vienna. Oh, Vienna. No. Ultravox. No.
All right,
Next one.
here you
Can
go,
we
ladies
give
and
him more medication? Dave, his name. He's
we
in
have,
the Netherlands.
we
now.
have,
Can
we
you
have to up it.
Yeah.
Okay, boys and girls, here you go. Until
Number one.
2019, the international consulting firm Mercer concluded an annual global study of the quality of life. Vienna maintained the number one spot
There you go.
years after a pause due to the pandemic. Then once again is awarded the city with the highest quality of life for expats in 2023.
Expats. It's not, but the Austrians who go.
Not a bad place to be from, Steve.
Yeah.
Nope. And then Vienna is, just so you know, on the livability is number one with a rating of
There you go.
98.4. I'm moving back
There
to
you
Vienna.
go.
I'm going to go back. I'm going to move back to the mother country and be with the people and learn to march.
You should never be ashamed from where you come from. And apparently, you come from the number one place. So
there you go. There you go. And being a
You're
Jew,
okay.
no less. I can't wait. I'm going to
look at you. I mean, you.
Look at you. Look at that. Yeah. So,
Yeah. They'll welcome you with open arms, I'm sure.
well, they're going to open me. They're going to welcome me with open something, and let's just hope it doesn't click.
I mean,
when
they
they're
still,
done.
yeah. Well, they might. We got the Euros starting at the end of the week. I think Austria might do quite well. They're going to be a bit of a dark horse football team for the Euros. Put your money on that.
Okay. All right.
Thanks for
Well, there we
slowing us
go.
down. There
That
you
was
go.
11 minutes of bullshit. All right. That's fantastic.
Yeah, but here's the best part. The header for this show is going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger is our guest today.
Oh,
and
God.
so that clickbait alone will get us at least 5 or 6 views. And I'm very excited about that.
Talking about his upcoming film, The Sperminator 3.
The Sperminator 3, yes.
Yeah. Emphasis on the word upcoming then.
Do they have social clubs in what city you in? What city you in?
Who are you talking to?
He's in Austin.
Dave. He's not asking me. He's asking you, Dave. Do you have a social club?
What city are you in?
What city am I in?
Yes.
I'm not in a city. It's a small town.
Or in a village?
It's a village.
It's a small town.
And?
Yeah. And?
Name?
Is there a name?
It's called, it's called Spikenissa.
Okay. Does it have a social club?
The Buena Vista Social Club comes here regularly. Yeah, we're always doing our thing.
No, I was just thinking maybe you should sign up for that. I'm just thinking. Sorry.
I think you need to get out more.
The problem is that I'm not allowed out anymore. It's I'm out in these claustrophobic.
So they've seen what we've seen. I got it. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, no, I've got this. Well, they told me it was a Rolex, but it only fits around my ankle, so I'm not quite sure what they meant by that. But it's a special form of Rolex that I've got on my ankle.
Oh, I see. But hang on a second. Aren't the Dutch supposed to be like the cleverest people in Europe?
No, they let me live here, so there must be a few stupid ones among them.
Listen,
I
just because you
heard
put your
they
finger.
were. Oh wait, was it the tallest? That's the tallest.
No.
Sorry, tallest.
Also, they've lost that as well. I think it's somewhere in the old East Bloc that they're now the tallest.
Oh,
I think the
okay.
Dutch are the second tallest.
Just because the Dutch put their fingers in dikes, and sometimes they fix a dam or two, that doesn't make them smart.
Yeah,
I just heard at one point they were supposed to be quite smart as a nation.
All right, let's find out. Let's find out.
Well, that's they're very good with water management, which is great if you're incontinent.
Well, they'd have to be, wouldn't they? Otherwise, they'd be dead right now.
Yeah, well, I'm living. I think we're just under.
They can't be half stupid. That's for sure. Because
all right, guys, here we go about the Dutch.
Go, Steve.
According to some research, some Dutch guy probably, back in 2006, this is a long time ago, the Dutch are among the most intellectual people in Europe, along with the Nazis. I mean, the Germans.
I mean,
other sources say that the Dutch people are known for their open-mindedness and strategic thinking and constructive criticism. Bite me. The value, education, hard work, justice, and also known for being tolerant, independent, and self-reliant.
Yeah,
that is what the Dutch are known for.
What date was that? What date was that?
That was back in 2006, so a long time ago.
Trust
When
me,
did you move to the Netherlands, Dave?
I moved here, I think, 86, 87, something like that.
Okay. So they must have been pretty tolerant then too.
It was incredibly liberal then. They didn't care. They were all too stoned to notice me creeping around.
Listen, David, we used to look like that back in the day and wear those little tight shorts. Right there.
Yeah.
That's David. Right there. Right there. There's
Thank
David.
you.
Sorry.
You have a special hot FM bucket that you can throw up in, I think.
There you go.
No, they won't put their logo on that bucket. Definitely not.
There you go. They won't even put their logo on this show. What are you kidding?
Not if they knew what was going on. No, probably not.
No.
Yeah.
Actually, our show, if you think about it, our show is very family oriented. You know, if you're the Charles Manson family, so you're good. So
I wanted to just to darken the mood a bit. The last time we spoke, I said,
"Did it get any darker then?" I thought we were pretty
so
dark.
much. I wanted to. We always spoke about this whole religion thing.
Sure.
God, all of that. And the reason why
don't include me into we, because this is going to go.
I never include you, Dave. It's fine. Don't worry.
That's why I tried to do the show early today, Dave.
It's too easy. But no,
religion, Mr. Vega, religion.
More than religion, because religion is sort of an offshoot of a belief in God. So you've got to start with, is there a God? And then you filter down from there. Right. And there's so many strong views on it. Now, I've always been fascinated. I mean, everybody. I don't think there's anybody on the planet that has zero views on it or zero opinion about it. Whether you are an atheist or you're religious, it's such a it's a topic that's close to so many people, and that's what always. When you bring it up, people just run for their perches. I'm an atheist. I'm a Catholic. I'm Muslim. I'm Jewish. I'm whatever. And no one just sits there and goes, I don't really give a shit. Maybe some do, maybe more. I'm not sure.
Could I just redefine that? And would you, because you used the word God, which causes dog spelled backwards, but would you consider it to be something larger than yourself? Something
because we haven't opened the discussion, but yes, I guess I had the interesting thing is I had this discussion with someone who is of, let's just say, ordered faith. That's all I'm going to say.
So they work voice,
and they said to me, that they agreed with me in the sense that the idea of a God just being a little white fellow with blue eyes that sits in the clouds, they said that's just nonsense. That is a way. Well, it's just total nonsense. It's not human.
Church of England. That's what they told me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I? Okay. Because I was saying this idea of suspending disbelief for a minute there, Steve. They talk about us being made in God's image. That's where this because you brought up the idea of what is God, and I said I've always had a problem with that because it seems very restrictive to me. So I've always felt that whatever God is, we'll just leave that. We're just talking about that, not individual religions, but whatever God is, I don't think it looks at it or whatever it is not gender-based or time-based or whatever. So, but in order to present the idea of that creator or of that superior being, then it comes into a little puppet and it comes into your life and says, this is who I am, so I can talk to you. That's the only way. That's the only thing I'm saying, is that not to dismiss any beliefs or worship them. I'm saying that it's something that's been created, which can be understood by people. If you just said God or the entity or the presence that fashioned us can't be seen and is everywhere and is. How do you relate to that? It's like saying I'm talking to the air. You need something that you take all of that and you. It's like a logo. It's like a logo. Like you've got a sports company, and the company is all the people, but it's also all the goodwill, and it's the history and the legacy, and it comes down to a picture and a slogan, and they go, oh, that's the company. That's what people. When you think of things like Nike, you see the little, that's it. You're not thinking of all the people that work for it. So you're looking at a representation of a concept, and I'm saying that I think even the most agnostic people might say, yeah, I don't think God's this little person, but certainly some entity. It doesn't look anything like us. And these are just thoughts. I'm not saying that anybody must believe or don't believe or do believe. I'm just putting it to you, because that's what we were going to talk about, is whether, first of all, whether that entity is there. That's the starting point. You begin with that. And then people say, where's the evidence? And then you can discuss what is evidence. And then so the discussion begins.
So I think what you have to look at is you have to go back into the history or to the ancient texts that they're revealing now in the UK in the British Library or the British Museum where you can read this, right? So if you go back to Gilgamesh and you go back to the Sumerian and the Mesopotamian texts and you go back further and further and further and further, you start getting into the Book of the Dead and the Anunnaki and all this stuff. So when you say, what is God? The question is, what is God in that term and who? Because the Anunnaki and the Book of the Dead and these new texts that they have found say that when whatever came here and helped make, where we are, played with DNA and spliced it and whatever, that their gods with an S, were going to be very upset if they ever found out. So I always go back to let's say that we were, if you will, genetically designed. So we're AI. Let's just say we're AI for somebody. So somebody then, it goes back and back and back. So really, when you say, what is God? You believe in all the new hypothesis of the matrix theory, our hypothesis, the quantum one, the Thursday one. Really, we're living in a simulation, a game. We are nothing more than just energy from, if you will, the absolute. So it's just basically some kid flipped on The Sims, and that's what we are. So it's hard to say what is God or gods, because we didn't have one God until I think it was like 100 CE. There was always gods, never one, always gods with an S. And then, the guy JC came along, and then we, of course, being Jews, promoted him and made sure that we made money on the holidays. So we made a god out of it. But if you go back and read history, hey, listen, we got to make a holiday out of everything. But if you go back and read about everything, all the ancient histories, there was always gods, and they always were on, whether it was flying carpets or dragons or this or that. So I think when we look here, we're looking in the wrong spot. I think if you go and you read books about multidimensional, and I think you're looking at us being in this form. I think you're looking at UFOs, if you will, that have advanced technology that can do right angles at Mach 100. And I think when there's a level where the being is nothing more than pure energy. So I think when someone says, what is a god or what is gods? I look at that being or beings that is pure energy. And there's got to be a point during our evolution as whatever we are, that we become, for lack of a better term, a god. And we can then create our own universes and our own galaxy because we understand the energy and the this and the that. So I think when you say, what is a god or gods, you can either go back to, I like to molest little boys and that religion, or you can look at it at a much wider and bigger scope. So I choose to look at it in a wider scope and really just try to understand where we are on that evolution. But then if you go back and read, it's gods, not a god.
So I'm keeping this wide and non-judgmental and not trying to put anybody in a box or whatever, because too often, I actually wrote a note of this, and I said the problem with things like when you discuss God. See, I've actually got a note here. I wrote it before I started, and I said whenever it comes up, there's always, so for instance, if somebody says, look, I believe, there's always someone who feels the need to say, why do you believe?
Right.
Does it matter? Why are people so bothered by it? Right. My thing is, we won't know.
Yeah.
We won't know for sure. Okay. So let's just all, I think we can agree, no one really knows. That's the position I can almost respect the most. Right. And then when people say, look, I'm gonna believe, this is what I believe, and I tend to, I've got my own beliefs and things that I lean towards. I look at this planet, I look at the biology of a human being, I look at the infinity of the universe, and I look at, there are a lot of people say, what's the evidence? And I go, there are signs of something greater than us. That's what I look at. There is so much we don't know. Now, to just write that off to a particular picture of something is probably quite silly. But if it's the way you want to create happiness, and if that's the way you want to deal with the, I guess, the terrifying idea of an infinite death or something, then good for you. But there's such a there's so much anger around it, which is supposed to be the exact opposite of what any kind of religious faith is. And this is the thing that the older I get, I go, why is everybody so angry about religion? And then you go, then we look at the wars and things like that, and I go, no, look, that's fine, that's man. I'm not talking about man. I'm just talking about the idea of not a god or gods, because if whatever it is, then it's not male, it's not female, it's not singular, it's not plural, it's not here, it's not now, it's not here, it's not there. It's just, there it is, in a dimension we cannot fathom. You mentioned multi-dimensions. Right. I definitely believe in multi-dimensions. There is scientific evidence for that. There is scientific evidence that time is not constant. Heights and depths, time operates differently. And I guess the question for me is, there is so much we don't know, and yet there are so many people who think they've got all the answers. And I just go, you, first of all, don't dismiss someone who has found a path of happiness. By the same token, you can't expect people just to believe things just because you do. Right. And I don't know, I feel there is something. You know, I was more traditional in my belief system when I was younger, but I've seen so many things which just defy logic. Right. And certainly if I created something, there's no ways I would allow that kind of suffering, or I wouldn't allow, if I had such an important message to give people, and the path back to me was so narrow and so specific, I would make sure that whatever I made that was supposedly something I loved and was so important to me, they would be given every opportunity to get that message in the cleanest, purest form. And then people say, it's, you know, there's books and stuff. And I go, yeah, but people wrote that. Right. There's so many people that were involved in that. And there's so many interpretations. How is someone with an 80 IQ or 90 IQ, which is what most of the world is, supposed to decipher this complicated, important message which determines their eternal existence? Right. And I go, yeah, that doesn't make sense either. I'm not dismissing faith. I'm not dismissing all religions. That's not what I'm doing. I'm saying I think we've got it wrong. I think there's probably something, but we have no idea what it is. No idea. No idea. You certainly can't put it in a box. But again, this is just me just putting shit out there. Not saying, yeah.
Is that really is the essence of faith then, because you don't know the answers, but you have this sort of inbuilt feeling that there is something greater than yourself, and in order to, and it brings with it anxiety and anger, but also a great deal of joy and excitement. And some people just need just to function normally. You know, a lot of people plan their days out. They have day planners. Well, it's almost as if this is like a life planner. So if you can function better in getting up, going to work, you know, getting married, having children, die, if you can do that within the framework of a faith, then that may be that's what you
whatever works for you.
Whatever works for you. And the crazy thing about it is, because people always complain, you know, it's whatever day it is, weekends and whatever, and the Jehovah's Witnesses are knocking on the door. And you know, I always invite them in because we always have great conversations. But yeah, people say, well, why are they doing that? Well, they're so annoying. But apart from two aspects to it, one is that they have to, as part of their mission, it's a must-do number. But it's also a lot of them who feel that they have found something so joyous, something so wonderful, that they want to share that with the rest of the world. And if that's faith, then yeah, they just feel like a necessity to tell me, oh, look, I've got this, I found this. Is this of any value to you?
But I have a question. Do people and religion itself, like if I read these ancient textbooks and I, you know, whether it's online or whether it's by an author who has some credibility, and if you think about faith and if you think about the way, if I was a god or gods, and that doesn't mean I'm a supreme being, this doesn't mean that I may have better technology than you and I can come and do stuff. But if I come here, do I tell you about this magical place and all this other stuff to keep you in line so you do kind of what you're our worker drone? Like if you look at these ancient texts that say that people or beings came here 500,000 or 1 billion years ago or whatever it was, and they were mining gold because they had to seed their planet atmosphere with gold because it was deteriorating, kind of like ours. And our scientists said about 10 years ago, we need to do the same thing. But this was written, you know, 300,000 years ago. The question is, if they tell you this, so is it really, if you will, history repeating itself? Is there really a faith, or is it, like I said, is it somebody that reached a plane in a multi-dimension and said, I can create my own, if you will, video game, and this is their video game, and we're it, and we just happen to be here because the role point. If I was God, right? Why would I let all this suffering? Why wouldn't I let people live in Shangri-La? There's no whatchamacallit. There's no point to making you suffer.
The fundamental answer to that question is that the definition of true love,
here we go,
is ultimate freedom. And ultimate freedom means that you are able to make whichever choices you want.
No, I disagree with that. Whoever came up with that definition is a
well, yes. a lot of the churches have, that's the very essence of what they're.
No, they don't. The churches want to control you, and they want their 10%, and they want this, and they want that. Please go ahead.
All of the above, but it's this message of it's a God that you take from your choice. It's not pushed. It should never be pushed upon you.
Can I just say the one thing I mean, we could go down this path easily, but what I don't want to take the concept and chuck it into a value of what I would call organized religion. I don't want to do that. That religion. No, but I'm saying organized religion. We can easily cut that up and toss that out. That's not a problem. What I'm saying is I'm stepping up above that, and I'm saying before we get to that point, before we start going into our tribal system and so forth. The question, and I do agree with you, Dave. I do think freedom is important, and so I'm between you and Steve. I would say, if whatever made us said, "There you go," yes, we're either programmed to do X, Y, and Z and go wherever we're going, in which case we have zero choice. Right. So there's that, or we have total choice. Now, I've heard both sides of the argument. I'm going to just look at the position where we have complete freedom. So yes, with complete freedom, when humans have complete freedom, they tear each other apart. That's just what we do. We love to fight wars. Even when there's peace, we will find something to bitch about and kill each other. And it's something in us. It's this, I don't know what it is, evolution, whatever. I don't know. We feel the need to tribalize, to categorize, to form groups, and it gives us something. You can psychoanalyze why that is, but that's what we do. We judge people so we can categorize them, so we can box them, so we can know what we're dealing with. Stereotypes are there for a reason. I mean, I know all about all that, but I'm saying the thing that I go back to, right back to the beginning, is that there's more than one faith that says, if you don't make this decision to join the club, if you don't do that, right, then you are looking at an eternal damnation. And this is where I have the problem with, this is the specific problem I have, because first of all, religion is very much cultural. It depends where you are. If you're in this country, you're probably going to be following this faith. If you're in that country, you're going to be following that. And that's not really up to you. You are born into that country, and that's where you are. So there's no really real choice for you. If I grew up in a Middle Eastern country, chances are I'd be Muslim, right? And then some faiths would say, well, I'm going to burn in hell because I'm not in the church, etc. I'm saying you are a product of your birth and your culture, and that's where you are. So I'm looking at this thing that stuck us on the earth and say it's sitting watching us fighting over all these little paths. And I'm thinking to myself, the message that comes across is that you live your life a certain way. I respect that. Don't kill, don't murder, don't steal. These are all good things, which aren't really religious. They're just, we should just, we should just treat each other.
They bring harmony into a busy world.
Bring harmony. This is how we survive as a species. So we got to find some order, and that's, I have no problem with that. But then when if we don't make a particular decision to follow a particular person in that color cloth or that color cloth or that, because that's what it is. If you don't follow that, I mean, there are people who say that if someone doesn't follow that faith, but they follow that faith, then they're going to burn in hell. But these people are just as decent as those people. Now, what I'm finding difficult to understand, this is what I'm finding difficult to understand, is that whatever made us, or what part of simulation we're in, we are told that thing loves us.
No,
all of them pretty much preach that. We're all super loved, okay? But we stuck into a game that we don't understand, that we given conflicted messages, and all these religious messages are very, very organized and very well thought out, and have got millennia of scripture and scholars that can point you in their particular direction. You can sit down with all of them, and they can justify where they all are. Absolutely. Beautiful buildings, smart people that have studied the text and can just, regale you with things that you should be doing. They're all very learned. I'm saying that's not 95% of the world isn't that. Whatever stuck us here, whatever created us, if that is the case, it seems like either we haven't understood the message properly or it's bullshit. One of the two must be true, because if it's bullshit, well, then that's fine. Then we're all just gonna, then that's that.
Right.
But if it's not bullshit, Steve, you wouldn't do that to your kids. You would want them to play and cavort, but if they don't push that little red button on the cliff that's hidden from view, despite all the good stuff they do, they're going to die.
All right. But I don't have kids, so we can push the red button all they want.
They don't know about that secret button. Only 1% of the people know about it.
Right.
It's just there's something wrong with the whole thing for me. That's just my feeling. Something has gone wrong, if it's true.
Here's what I think the problem is. I think the problem is,
tell me, please.
Organized religions and governments hide a lot of things from the people, because I think they think, one, they're too stupid to understand it, which I agree with, and two, and we've talked about this before, if I tell you I know the origins of the universe, and I can tell you how we were created, and I can show you and prove it to you, you won't any longer be South African, and he'll no longer be whatever he is, multinational, and I'll no longer be an American, right? We all become an earthling. Once you become an earthling, a government cannot control you, because you realize then there is something out there more than you, right? It's like, we're not the smartest, which we're definitely not. But if I can prove to somebody and say, listen, I'm going to show you these ancient texts that go back 250,000, 300,000 years that tell you, here's how we got here. And here's how our ancestors got here. To Graham Hancock's point, we're like, there's missing history in our DNA. Like it's like we've got amnesia, right? But then they find all these cities under the water, or they find a city in the sand, and they come up with some BS excuse, like even on the pyramids. Oh, this is how they built it. But then when they try to prove it with modern physics, it's like, well, you can't. So,
no.
But then when they find a book or a tablet that's say 100, 200, 300,000 years old, and someone says, well, here's kind of like what happened, and it's all laid out, people go, no, that's a fairy tale. So I think what happens is that the governments and the religions organized have gotten to a point where they've indoctrinated everybody. And I think, to the internet's credit, is now people are putting stuff online. I'm talking about museums that, like, you read and you figure it out. And I think that's what the British Museum has done with all these ancient texts that go back, eons. And it talks about, this is what happened. The Book of the Dead gives you a layout of how we got here, more than the fables, I like to call them, right? And there's books that have been left out of the fable that talk about how we got here. But because to the church, if you will, it won't fall into their nice little story. It won't go A through Z properly, right? It takes some curves. So I think because human society doesn't want to think out of the box, and they don't want to read, they want it all wrapped up like a 1 hour, or if you will, a 2-hour movie. Like, go to the cinema. We're going to give you the first, the second, the third act, and a conclusion, and you're done. And that's what I think people look at life as, instead of saying, this is fascinating. What about this? And what about that? And what about this? So when I listen to these people, or I read their stuff, or I read the texts that are online that you can read at a museum, I'm fascinated with why we're so stupid as a species. And we think that we are, if you will, God's gift, when I'm like, we're probably on the evolution scale, not even at 1, compared to what literally is out there when you see these technologies and whatever. So I think that has a lot to do with your question. The other part about it is why we tell people you're going to go to a bad place, because I think, as you can tell, people are just animals. And I don't mean that to be funny, but I think if there was, you don't go to a bad place, I think people would just walk around and kill each other. It'd be like, bless you. People would walk around and just kill. Yeah, it's just sort of like, we have to control you because we want you not to go out and kill everybody. Yeah, and I think
have to go to a bad place because you can pay not to go. That's
yeah, but if you run around and murder people, like, let's just say every 10 years we get a new Hitler, and they take out 6 million of something, that would be bad, right? So we go, oh, that's terrible. Don't do that. Don't do this. Because there's this moral compass we have. And the moral compass, if you will, comes from this book. So my question then is, if we don't have the book, do we have a moral compass then as human beings? Do we look at that?
I wanted to say, there was one thing I wanted to say. I got to point 9 and I hadn't got to point 10.
Sorry about
that. No, that was me. Here's point 10. Sure. So taking all of what we discussed and putting it all together, and we say, well, look, we don't know. I mean, that's just a fact. That's almost a joy in a way. We don't know. We just don't know.
Right.
And I think if we did know instantly, we might go, oh, what's the point of being a, because there's something better. So there's a certain frustration and a certain joy in not knowing. I don't know if that makes sense. But this is the biggest problem I have. Okay. So you talk about certain books and faith, and they always say, oh, but you have a choice. They say, oh, you have a choice. Please choose this way, otherwise bang. But the point is, and more than one religious chap has said this to me, he said, you have been given the gift of choice. That's what God does. He gives you a gift of choice. And I go, not much of a choice then if I say, you know what, I'm good. I'm going to go this way. That's not a choice. That is a threat. It's not a choice. So if it's a proper choice, like your kids, you can, my daughter has now left the house. She's getting married next year. I am gutted about it. But what do? Put a chain on her and keep her here? She'll break the damn chain and hate me forever. No. The best choice for me would be to build another cottage over there and have her live there.
Right.
If she decides to do that, that's fine. If she chooses to come back and live here, great. But if I truly love her, I'm going to just say, you do what you need to do.
Let it go.
This crap where if you don't make a certain decision and follow a certain person, I am the way, and you're now going to burn in hell forever. You know, that message doesn't work for everybody.
Right.
And if it works for you, and to some extent, I'll be full disclosure, it sort of works for me to some extent, but I get to this part where I am the way. And if you're not on board with this, then you're going to burn in hell. I'm sorry, fuck you. Really?
Right.
Bullshit. That's not a message of love. That's a message of
Right.
no, look, please make a choice.
Yeah.
And that's where I go, okay, something is very wrong here. Something is not right. We are not, if this, so the point is, if this comes from wherever, these words, let's go with that for a second. I think we got the message wrong. That's what I think. I've got to the point where I go, this doesn't sound like a thing that loved us and wanted the best for us would do. It's like, no, please pick up. You eat the pizza, pal. No, it's fine.
But if you read the Book of Enoch, and if you read the Book of Mary, and you read all these books that they left out of the Bible, it talks about you don't need a building or a person to help you be in contact with, if you will, God or gods. So that's what I'm saying.
I get
religion is a business, and that's why when you see these mega churches and these pastors are like, "I need a private jet." No, you don't. You don't need jack shit. That's all bullshit. And so I have a real problem with religion in general because I think it's just crap. I think you can believe in whatever.
But Steve, the thing that I would like to see, the part I would like to see, and then I might actually this would help me a bit, and I think it would help a lot of people, is, look, you can join the club or not join the club, and that's fine. But mean it. But here's the thing. If you don't join the club, you're still good. But no, you're not. That's the problem. Right. And that's why people go, well, fuck the club. I get that. I get that point of view too. They go, well, I'm doing what I'm doing. I see things. I want, we can all have a conversation about evidence, but this is what I believe. I don't see little men on clouds, and I'm not. Thanks very much. I'm a decent human being. I adopt rescue cats. I give to starving children in Africa. I'm a good guy. This is just not for me. Thanks very much. That should be accepted. That should be okay. That should be fine. Or if you want to go into the church and do your thing, that's fine too. If those two scenarios, right, were okay and on a par as the decency of a human being to go wherever, then I'd go, well, that's fine. Then I'm okay with that.
But who says it's not?
But it's not. And that's the problem.
Who says it's not?
Exactly. No, but that's what I'm saying.
It's a book and a guy with a dog collar and a funny hat with cute little shoes. And who gives a fuck?
I'm not judging. But just to be clear, I'm not judging either scenario.
Oh, I am. I'm judging.
No, okay, fair enough. But I'm looking at both, saying both are just as valid. Look, if you're a piece of shit and you beat your wife and you rape people and you do whatever, I don't care what the fuck you believe and how much you confess. You should be burning in a pot of boiling water.
I get
that. Okay, what if you have a cross or a thing or whatever? If you do that, if that's how you live your life, fuck you. All right. By the same token, if you're a decent person, you do, and there are a lot of great people who are not religious, who do fantastic things. Yeah. They shouldn't be. That's just you're a human being. It's fine. Yeah. And you should both. What I'm saying is, I had one chap who said to me, he says, it doesn't matter about your deeds. Unless you commit to this form of belief, you're done. I have a huge problem with that. The older I get, I go, well, that's bullshit. That's not a choice. That's not love. That is it's the ultimate control. Why would you? One of the things when you become a parent, and I don't mean to patronize anybody who's not a parent, but when you become a parent, you suddenly, well, certainly for me, it was the first time in my life I was able to love something with no reason. No reason. There's no reason. I mean, you are up at night. This thing is pooping. It does fundamentally nothing for you. Screws up your life, and you will die for it. What the fuck? Doesn't make sense. But it's the first time in your life, and then that grows up, and there's this phenomenal connection that I think if you are on the belief page, this is what made you must feel. And it's almost,
Right.
I've always thought, when I
Yeah,
became
well, that explains how people talk about, you know, the way God looks at us. You know, that he's supposed to have, he has those same feelings.
like
He
a
doesn't.
parent.
No, he
It
doesn't.
make,
Just stop it. That's ridiculous. The difference is the make believe thing that the religions have
no,
made
I'm
up so
not
they can make
talking
a
about
business
whether
out
or
of it
not. I'm
is
not
different
defending. I'm not
than a
saying it's
real
right
parent.
or. I'm not
No,
saying
no.
it's
You're
right
defending
or
it.
wrong.
But the difference
But
is, though, the difference is this: you two are parents, and I am not. I mean, I have a lot of kids in Vietnam. Apparently, I get ties every next Sunday, actually. So I'm very excited about that. Thanks, kids, for sending the ties.
They're
But
coming for you.
they're coming now. But you and Rob, you two have children, okay? And so
Yeah.
you love your children because they're your children. If
Yeah.
I created this blue marble, third rock from the sun, make a left at Pluto when you come in from the solar system, I would be here in some form, not some bullshit guy with a dog collar, not some chick that looks like a penguin, none of this bullshit. I would be here, and I like they were in the ancient days, making
yeah, but
sure that
that's
everything's
what a
taken
lot
care
of
of.
people believe. That's what a lot. That's what
I don't
a
care.
lot of these
Listen, I can't
faith.
fix stupid.
But
I
that's
cannot
what
fix stupid.
but that's
You
what you
can't
guys
fix it. That's what
you
he's
guys have
saying.
just made my point. No, but you
Yeah.
both have actually made my point. That's what I
Yeah.
was trying to say. I was saying that we're not saying it there is a God or isn't.
Right.
I've never said that in this discussion. I'm not saying that. I'm taking hypothetical positions. I don't want, because when you take a position, you exclude people who aren't. I don't want to do that. I'm postulating. I'm saying, assuming there is a being thing that created us, my view would be that when I became a parent, I got a snapshot of understanding of what that relationship might be. And if that is in fact the case, as a parent, I certainly wouldn't run my kids' lives. I'd give them freedom. I would give them freedom. I would be there for them. And the older they get, the less they want me around. It's fine. But they know I'm there. They know it. They just
pick up the
know
phone.
it. They could be both my kids know that if the shit hit the fan and they committed mortal sins and did everything we had ever said would be unforgivable, they know they would still contact me and I would love them completely.
Right.
I would be pissed off with them. But the point is, they know, they feel that link, they know. And I certainly wouldn't confuse them with bullshit messages of, "Ooh, if you don't go to this part of the world and say these words, I won't be there for you." Fuck off. That doesn't make sense to me. Nothing that creates anything or is a parent to anything that is a parent of any value behaves like that. You don't crowd your kids. You don't program them. You let them go. And that part I get. But they can choose not to come back. And they're still your children. And you have to put up with that. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of these beliefs and whatever, my feeling is that they say, oh no, God is this parent, but if you don't come back to God, well, then you fucked. Well, that's not much of a God or a parent, is it? That's bullshit. That's childish, actually.
That's my point. If the figment that's in this book that's taken from books that were written thousands and thousands of years ahead of it, if I'm the creator, like I said, of this little blue marble, then I'm here. Like I would have a little castle or country. You come visit, we talk, whatever you need, right? I'm still your parent, so to speak, right? I'm still like you go to your grandparents or you go to great-great-grandparents, right? They're still there. The problem is that with religion, I talk to a guy or a girl. You're nobody. You're no better than me. You came out the same way I did, so to speak, right? So I don't give a shit what you have to say. You read a book. I read a book. So to your point, that's why I like to read all the ancient stuff, because somewhere along the line, whoever came and helped, when they left and we intermingled and did whatever, and they got fed up, which, I don't blame them, and they went to explore the rest of the universes and galaxies, they talk about the gods that if they found out what they did would be annoyed. And then they talk about those gods finding out if their gods found, right? So this gods thing goes back like billions and billions and billions of years. And somewhere it's like almost like the 2,000-year-old man, like Mel Brooks is, I really, and I know it's not, but to be funny, there's going to be a little Jewish guy sitting on a chair going, so you came up, nice to see you. Like, you know what I mean? And so that's when you talk about multidimensional. So if we're in someone else's dimension, okay, but at some point, like say hi, you know, and I know you'll like people will be about UFOs and there'll be angels and there'll be the world isn't as it appears. And so, and I think that people are so stuck in this linear thing that they don't think out of that box. And I think that's why.
No, I'm going to say this, and I'm because I always like to try and, like anybody with half a brain, you're always trying to find a solution, trying to find a way to be.
Right.
Okay. And what I'm saying is, I'm not casting aspersions on anybody's faith or belief. That's not what I'm meaning to do at all. I'm suggesting that if someone believes, that's great. That's great. That's comforting. That's good. And there's books, and that's fine. That's not a problem. Absolutely. If you want to be a good person, by the way, the only thing I would say on that is you might want to try to follow that book a little closely more than you do, instead of when it suits you. Okay. That's just a little, and I would say that to myself. So it's fine. It's okay. I'm not, it's not when it's convenient for you. You don't.
Right.
Okay. Because that makes the people that don't follow your book go, fuck. Okay. So that's the first thing I would say. But the important thing is, for me, is whatever faith you are from or not, if people want to choose something different, that should be fine as well.
Correct.
If it is or it isn't, whether you believe or don't believe, I'm saying all these things need to work. They all need to be in the same place together and have the same value to whatever the fuck put us here. That's what I'm saying. So if you want to be in the club, that's fine. If you do want to be in the club, that's fine. If you want to put a purple cloak on, a dog collar, all these are important. It's the way everybody likes to live, and they're comfortable. But when the one tells the other, you're going to burn in hell, and I spoke to the boss, and he thinks you're a piece of shit, and you're going to burn in hell forever, fuck you. This has got nothing to do with, there's no love here. This is not faith. It's not, what is that? That's bullshit. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
it's not faith, something anybody wants to be a part of.
Faith, in the way that you look at it, was once explained to me by a little old lady sitting in a church. We used to sit in the churchyard and have our lunch, and she quite regularly, it's a nice quiet place, and she came to me once and she said, "Oh, are you religious?" And I said, "No." We had a very deep discussion with her, and she said, just before I go, she said, "I'd just like to remind you that it's the same dinner but different gravy."
There you go.
And that's kind of been stuck with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And on that point, guys, we're
not. I own the station, so we're not. So wait, let me bring up this point where people really think about something. The CIA did a program called the Gateway Program. If you can find it online, and there's something they call the Gateway Program. And
rings a bell.
And the Gateway Program, the page was written by, I think it was a lieutenant colonel or a colonel who's still alive to this day. He's a real guy. But the Gateway Program was where they took people and they put them in, if you will, like a chamber that can go interdimensional and this and that. So they got to experience things, but and remote viewing and all this other things. The interesting part about the Gateway Program, at the end, they all came back, and the people that were involved in it never spoke to the other participants. Like if the three of us were in the Gateway Program, we would never know. So when we would come back from our assignment or our journey, if you will, whether it was going to Pluto, Mars, to another dimension, they would talk about meeting these interdimensional beings and talking to them. But they all said the same thing, that there's something called the absolute. The absolute supposedly is this ball of energy. So, which is what we are. And Einstein said that as well. Energy never goes anywhere. So, or never dies. So when we pass, according to the hypothesis of the absolute, what ends up happening is that your energy goes back to the absolute. So the collective learns, and then it sends you out again. And if you read the ancient texts about the gods, it almost goes back to the absolute. So to your point, I don't care really what you believe in, just be a good person. But to your other point, if there really was, I'm being somewhat facetious, a guy with a white beard sitting on a chair, like show up once in a while, like, being an absentee dad for this planet isn't working. So like I said, I think knowledge is a powerful thing. I think the problem is just people are very stuck in their own little world and don't want to think through it because of all the other crap that's going on. And that's a shame, because I think if we worked as a collective, we would have the Shangri-La and not the crap we have today. And I think it's just going to get worse, unfortunately. But yeah, so I think
but
if anybody's interested, absolutely.
I just want to say that my final word is you should just believe what you want, but if people don't believe, then that's fine too. And the people that don't believe, leave the people who believe alone.
That's
then
true.
we're fine. Just do whatever you want to do, but stop making it. There's no need to have wars and fight about it. Just be.
Well, it's the dog collar people.
Do your thing. You do you, and then
you do you. I like it, David. Now you can play God in the show if you have to.
Well, it's just for people who are interested and want to leave comments, they're always welcome, of course.
Yeah, we don't care what you have to say.
No.
We gotta rev them up, man. We gotta get it going. We actually do get some interesting comments. So we do want to thank you for your comments. If you don't like anything that we said, we'll send us a comment. We'll give you David's home address. You can go talk to David, because that's what we like to do. But anyway, thank you for watching. You can catch Vaguely True or Vaguely News, depending on how we decide we're going to put it out this week, every Sunday at 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. You can catch it on wherever you get your podcasting.
Just before you go to church. Just before you go to church.
Or after church or during church, because it's pretty boring with the guys going, anyway. And if you're Jewish, you don't have to go to church. You go to shul on the Saturday. You can Sunday play around and make fun of people while you're having bagels and Chinese food. And I think that's it. So yeah. And if we left you out, we'll make fun of your religion next week. Please leave us comments. And if you're really interested in everything I just spoke about, there's a guy named Bill Carson. You can Google him. He talks about the ancient books. He has, I'm not plugging him, but he's very fascinating. He'll give you the links to the websites at the British Museum where you can read these ancient texts that are real ancient texts, not made up. You can read the Book of Gilgamesh. You can find, as I said, the Gateway Project by the CIA. It's PDF format on Google. It's about 36 pages long, totally fascinating. If you want to delve into something outside the norm and whatnot, and that will help you out. And I won't even talk about Adam and Eve, the Garden of Eden being basically a laboratory where all they did was make clones, because that's a topic for another show. So there you go.
Thank you so much for listening to this Harold Woods, Robb Vega, whatever the hell he wants to call himself, fellow. This podcast thing, it makes him feel very important, and he's a difficult fellow as it is to deal with. So thank you so much for putting up with him, and do take care.